What is a common myth about your country that is 100% false but many people still believe in it? Welsh people shag sheep. Temptation is there but the static shock wouldn't be worth it. Iceland was not named as part of some conspiracy to keep folks away from a good thing. The name comes from the fact that early settlers arrived during summer and then suffered horrible losses of livestock and people once winter hit and icebergs were seen filling the fjords. It was more of a warning than anything. That this place sucked. People generally assume that when you're from Belgium, you are French speaking. While a big part of the country is francophone, the majority population is Flemish, Dutch speaking. I blame this on mostly 3 factors. People mainly visiting Brussels, which is bilingual. That it is always hot in Australia. It's not. That crumpets and tea makes you posh. I can get 9 crumpets for a quid from me local Asda. Far from posh. That the only thing we care about is rugby and we all live in hobbit holes. I, for one, am absolutely terrified of rugby but I'm Kiwi as. That the Irish are the biggest drunks in the world. Finland doesn't exist. Dracula is often depicted as living in Transylvania, while he was imprisoned there for a while. He was actually the ruler of Wallachia, another historic Romanian province that neighbors Transylvania to the south. As for the rumor that we are vampires, I neither confirm nor deny this statement. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Ortals. Everyone plays soccer and knows how to dance samba. There are monkeys in the streets. The capital is Rio de Janeiro. A lot of people confuse different European countries. For Switzerland, you're often Swedish. I'd imagine it's similar for Belgium, Belarus, Slovakia, Slovenia. I'm from Serbia and people used to try and convince me it was a part of Russia. Mexico is a desert. I hear it's also entirely in sepia tone. All Germans have some secret knowledge of the Second World War they would love to share. I always found that interesting when I lived in London and English people 40 plus would ask me of some first-hand experience of the war. Keep in mind that not even my parents were born at the time. Fact we know the same as you do from history classes etc. That leprechauns are real. Oh and we are a nation of alcoholics. We don't have humor and live to work. Also our trains are always on time. As someone who often relies on the Deutsche Bahn to get around, that seems like a cruel joke. I had to tell my little cousins in the UK that no. Unfortunately we don't ride kangaroos to school and work every day. No one thinks Aussies work every day. People think British people are either stiff upper lip public school boys or cockney bricklayers football hooligans. There's a whole world of people in between. Some of us don't even like football. One of my friends doesn't even drink tea. Not sure why she's my friend to be honest. That we say shrimp on the Barbie. It was an ad campaign to appeal to Americans. It was the most successful tourism campaign still to this day. Oh so much. According to popular opinion I should be a weed smoking, clog wearing tulip farmer living in a windmill. Can you guess where I am from yet? Semicolon. Also, you're a cheese loving, greedy, bad beer drinking Protestant. That everyone still harbors resentment against Americans. Or the French. Or the Japanese. Or, you get the point. I've actually never met anyone here who held such grudges. It's pretty inspiring. Actually. Probably I can learn a lot from that. That we roam around with wild animals like lions and rhinos. Have no cities and thus live in huts. And that we're all poor and malnourished. Yeah, I've heard Yorkshire's not quite as bad as people make out. That sheep roam our highways. New Zealand are here. Update. Thanks for the awards everyone. Y'all are a funny bunch. Also found out I'm not only Scottish but also apparently Irish too. Why? That Brazil is a huge tropical jungle in which people speak Spanish. Brazil actually has several major cities and different environments. Sao Paulo, for instance, is a huge sprawling metropolis with as many inhabitants as New York and Los Angeles combined. In some southern areas of the country it actually snows. And we were a Portuguese colony. So we speak Portuguese. Nigeria. That we still live in igloos. Not exactly myth, but decent amount of PPL still think that Czechoslovakia still exists. We split apart in 1993. We are Czech Republic. Not Czechoslovakia anymore. Edit. To make it clear, Czech Republic, shortcut Czechia, and Slovakia are two different countries. Edit 2. For your information, Slovakia and Slovenia are also two different countries. They are not even neighboring countries. Edit 3. Wow, this grew really big. Thank you all for your comments and for those awards. Sorry that I am not commenting anymore. But I can't keep with this pace. Everyone drinks maple syrup. If someone says isn't Ireland part of the UK though one more time. We're all sad. There's no sun. There's always snow. Russia? All of our country is just weed and red districts. Yes, we have these things. But the Netherlands has lots of culture. I'm American, but I lived in Egypt for a while. It's incredible that more than one American who wasn't a child asked me if I lived in a pyramid. Do many people walk around wrapped in bandages or just a few? When I started dating my now wife, who is from Oklahoma, she informed me that her friends and family were convinced that Canadians didn't have ice or toilet paper. They wanted her to ask me about it, apparently because they were confused by that. I had never laughed so hard. I mean, it's Canada. We are ice 70% of the year basically. That Africa's a country. Greece is not only beaches and islands. We also have beautiful places for the winter. Many mountains and mainland attractions. Every corner has something interesting. That it's socially acceptable to call people CNTS. You'll get away with it with your mates, but you'll probably get your head stomped if you called the wrong person it in public. Also, it's possible to be arrested for using it in public in certain circumstances. Get a load of the CNT. There are more than 2 accents in the UK. It's not just Cockney and the Queen's English. Not all of USA. French here. That we don't shower. We do, guys. We're not in the 1700s anymore. Also that French women don't shave. I mean, there are some that don't. But this has more to do with their personal choices and a general trend of having more and more women that don't shave around the world than their Frenchness. We do eat frogs and snails though. We are all rudes if you don't speak French. We don't shower, shave. We all like wine, cheese, baguette, and France can be summarized as Paris. Genuine conversation I had in a bar with a Frenchman in Cantal. Do you know who we French hate the most? Here we go. Us English. None. Germans? None. Dutch. Americans? None. I give up. Parisians. To somewhat counter your point. We were drinking wine in a village next to a shop that only made baguettes. Kenyans are all long distance runners. Live in huts. Speak no English. And have pet wild animals. Ugh. So here goes. The long distance guys are mainly from one community tribe called the Kalenjin, that's about 15% of the population. Next. Kenya is still a developing nation with a lot of poverty. But there's a lot of modern architecture. Next. The country is rated 18 out of 100 on the English Proficiency Index. And lastly. You can apply for a special, and rarely granted, permit for your bobcat named Babao. But keeping wildlife is not at all common. And the Kenya Wildlife Service will conduct regular visits to ensure Babao isn't being kept in Auschwitz-like conditions. Everyone in Scotland is ginger and wears a kilt. Thanks for 10k upvotes, most I've got on a post. The myth is that everyone here is always drunk on vodka and people all ride bears, play on balalaikas and dance the kazachok, and that we're either drunk or mad. 1. While there is a problem with alcoholism, a lot of people don't drink. Especially not vodka. 2. Funnily enough, bears do appear, but very rarely. And the people that ride bears or have them as pets, they're considered unusual by other Russians. 3. Balalaika's dead. I know one person that plays it and that's it. 4. We dance the Kazachok only ironically at this point lol. 5. We're not always mad. We're just people with emotions. Vertical bar. But Ashankas are great and warm. Australian here. Glad you asked. Everyone thinks it's as dangerous as duck. That's spiders. Drop bears. Snakes. Feral cats and dogs will rip your ducking heart out every time you step out the door. The truth is that unless you act like a half-wit, poke said snake spider with your finger, then you'll be fine. Battle echidna. Dovish spiders. Saltwater crocodiles and drop bears don't live in suburbia. You need to go into the bush to even see a lizard, which usually promptly ducks off the moment a stone-footed Oompa Loompa waddles past. Edit. People, save your money. Enjoy the show. But that Japan is incredibly efficient and futuristic. Major lol. So futuristic here that I can't even pay my bills online. And if I want to set up an auto-paying bill, I have to request a form by mail, fill it out, and then take it to the bank in person. Not to mention I have to send in all my monthly reports by fax. That the Netherlands is called Holland, but Holland is only a piece of the Netherlands, and that we are the inventor of the tulip. It was Turkey. Edit. THX for all the support. Edit 2. Turkey didn't invent the flower. Edit 3. No, Italian aren't all short, black-haired, fat mobsters that wear wine-stained tank tops and coppola's. Philippines, but speaking for many more countries. We do not eat dogs. Shut up about your racism, it is showing. And do not tell me oh, I saw one Asian in the news who was arrested for eating dogs. So, want me to show you news articles of captured pedophiles in your country? On the contrary. That TTY traffic and driving culture in Metro Manila is very true. I think that myth about Polish people being thieves and alcoholics is still commonly believed. Of course we drink a lot, but not every single one is alcoholic. And that myth about us being thieves is not correct. I live in Poland my whole life, 30, and never got robbed or something. I never lock my car and I parked on a street. Poland is really nice, and when this ducking pandemic ends, I highly recommend that everyone should consider to visit us. Romania. Many people believe we have vampires. But in my 700 years of living here, I haven't even seen one. I asked my mates back in the castle and they also haven't seen any. And they've been around for longer than I. There's no ducking cream and carbonara. Edit. Fettuccine Alfredo and spaghetti with meatballs are not Italian. That Spain is hot. Sure. It is, in summer. Come in winter and you will see. So many international students at my university in central West Spain were not prepared for below 0 degrees Celsius. That America is racist. Semicolon. It's a media lie that people love to believe. Semicolon. If there was racism, you would have cities that only one race live in with 0 exceptions. Realtors wouldn't sell homes to the races that are not allowed. And businesses would not sell to those other races. Nothing like this exists anywhere in America. Americans are not monolithically ignorant, stupid, violent and racist. We just give all our attention to the ones that are, which makes them a very, very loud minority. Further, people seem to think that the people approve of what our government does. It's even a lie we tell ourselves that our vote actually counts for something in the grand scheme. Vampires. I used to live in a country outside of the US. I thought everyone in my school knew I was from the US. I looked very different from the rest of the population in general, but it was even more obvious at my school. Anyway, At one point a girl asked me where I was from, so I thought she meant which state in the US, so I told her Pennsylvania. Later in the year, people kept talking about vampires to me, which, yeah, I think they're cool, so whatever. Then they said something about there being a lot of vampires where I'm from. More cows for sure. Later I realized the girl who I told I was from Pennsylvania to was there and had thought I said Transylvania. Samurais. Ninjas and anime girls don't exist. No one wears cat ears. And making harem is illegal. Eat sushi though. Like once a month. Bad teeth. The US has an obsession with blindingly white teeth to the point that almost every type of toothpaste in the store is whitening. People also get their teeth whitened at the dentist. My understanding is that one of the reasons for the bad teeth myth is that the British don't have the same obsession, so their teeth are more likely stained as they get older. Especially with the amount of tea that's consumed. So the teeth are clean and healthy. Just darker. I could be wrong though. That either you're a part of the rich 1% or you're struggling every day in poverty. The middle class exist. That all Australians drink Foster's beer. On the contrary, it's one of the least sold beers here. And tastes horrible. We are not Nazis. It's been 70 years. They all are dead. Actually, we just had a 95-year-old Nazi hiding in Tennessee get arrested. Somehow some people think that Brazilians speak Spanish and only like soccer and carnival. The soccer and carnival thing is mostly true, but Spanish? Really? Yoga is not about religion. It's about well-being of a human being. That haggis not a real animal. That it was discovered by Christopher Columbus. That the other side fixed the election we lost and is out to destroy America. Our side is the right one and the other is evil. So we have to make sure they stay in power by any means necessary. Yay. That sure sounds like the other party. Since the US is known for its expensive healthcare system, I have seen people who believe that means poor people are just ducked and left to die. So in a way the US does have free healthcare, which is called Medicaid. Doctor visits are completely free and medication is usually under a few bucks. We always have bad weather in the UK is commonly believed as portrayed by a lot of cartoons and TV shows, but last summer we had a heatwave that broke records for 75 years. English here. I was out in the park with my kids last week and it was so hot they were running around in t-shirts. Then it started to snow heavily. I'd say Britain has very changeable weather. So visitors should bring layers and always a waterproof. But it's mostly grey. There's a reason England is a green and pleasant land. It gets watered a duck ton. That's like saying you're not a bedwetter because you didn't wet the best last night. Ha 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 ha, no. You have terrible weather. I can say that as a Brit who moved because she couldn't cope with the weather anymore. When I go home to visit my family, it makes me so depressed that half the time we can't even go for a walk because it's too cold and wet out. The number of times I've seen posts on our Ask an Australian about do you really have giant spiders? How big of a problem are spiders in Australia? I want to go to Australia for a honeymoon but I'm scared of spiders. We have spiders. You may find them creepy. You also have spiders. Spiders are everywhere. Grow the duck up. Our spiders are more dangerous. But then the most common one you'll see will ward off all of them and probably won't even try to hurt you. Which it kind of can. Mildly. Daddy long legs spiders are great. Yeah. Problem is that one of our more common ones, huntsman's, despite being utterly harmless can be enormous and hairy. So they trigger an irrational phobic response in some people. Not just a regular rational fear. My brother-in-law's mum came for a visit from the UK and freaked out when she saw a spider. In her words, it was huge. Just bigger than a spider should be. It was a baby. About the size of a 50-cent coin. Their spiders are often smaller. Ours are usually bigger. And of course many are dangerous. So there's that. Anyone who says in America it's easier to buy a gun than it is to vote has never tried to buy a gun. When I bought my first handgun it took about 20 minutes total from telling them which one I wanted to walking out of the store with it. My state makes voting even easier though you are automatically added to the voter rolls when you get your driver's license and they mail you your ballot. American here. Not all Americans are loud, obnoxious, stupid gun-toting rednecks. There are many smart, polite Americans. We just get outshined by the idiots. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of idiots. But we are not all idiots. Lived in the UK before living in the US. Can't say much for the quantity of stupid people in each country. I've met a fair share, but it seems like the stupid people in America are far more confident in their stupidity and that makes them a lot louder. That Canada isn't as racist as the States. Some people actually think it's legal for New Zealanders can have gardens. The American dream is attainable for all. That we are all tech scammers and like eating cow dung. Guess which country? I haven't met the Queen and I don't like tea. Arpeopsustne tilde o stroke acute tilde o stroke I grave sense IASES. Australia. A surprising amount of people, mostly tourists, think that the hoop snake is an actual thing considering the lethality of our wildlife. Many still believe chewing gum is banned in Singapore and if you are caught with it, you would get caned. The reality is that in the 1990s it used to be completely banned but today, only selling it is illegal. Dental chewing gum is also allowed in Singapore. Philippines. We're the nicest people on earth. Well, we are. But only to everyone else except our fellow countrymen. Brazil is a horrible place. With criminality rate at 63,917%. And we live in a forest. We live in a forest. Not if it's up to Bolsonaro. That we all have the same accent, sound the same way when we speak. People watch a lot of British TV and assume we all speak in RP. Or like Londoners. And there's a pretty broad range of accents here in the UK. Like, Northern or Midlands accents are wildly different to ones in the South. And don't even get me started on Welsh, Scottish or Irish accents. This isn't about all of the US. But the idea that just because someone has the Southern US accent, country, rural, Appalachian, etc., they are automatically not the brightest. A lot of people, even some in the US, especially in the New England area, seem to have this idea. It's honestly just kinda classist. And one of the reasons a lot of people in these rural areas are very skeptic of people from the north cities. I get that it comes down to grammar and stuff. But it's a dialect, just like AAV or Ulster Irish, and it's just the way we are raised to talk. It has nothing to do with intelligence. And it's sad. Because I know a few people who went to school up north. And they changed their accent completely when they moved to try and blend in more. People often expect Southerners to be simple farmers who don't have much of an education. That we ride camels in Turkey, short answer. People think Dracula is a vampire. But in real life, he was just a Romanian count. Who is famous for impaling lots of people. Kenya. The big five roaming around. No. They don't. You have to visit the game reserves to see them. That we speak Spanish. We have Spanish loanwords and one of our 120 languages is a Spanish Creole. But the majority of the population does not. And never has spoken Spanish. Drop bears exist. That we all knew Steve Irwin. Like sure thing we've all shared many a bush chuck tinnies with old mate Steve-O down the local. I was traveling in Italy. A cop said to me, "Oh, Australian. My cousin Luigi lives in Melbourne. You know him? LMAO." Ha. Nice try. OP. But I'm pretty sure that I'll get crucified for pointing out 99% of the falsehoods about my country that haunt the internet. Either the ones that make it seem better or the ones that make it seem worse. So lem go with. There aren't very many palm trees nor camels in here. That we're hungry. Edit. Alright, looks like I should have specified that I'm talking about Hungary. That India is in sepia filter. That in Brazil you can get robbed at gunpoint virtually everywhere you go. Oh wait. Germans all wear lederhosen. Except on the Oktoberfest, or the Wasen, it is a rare sight. Many people think Turkey is desert. We ride camels. We speak Arabic and they are going to be attacked. BC they are non-Muslim lol. D. Germany, World War II is a huge taboo topic and everybody just pretends it didn't happen. I've had multiple US exchange students here in Germany ask me if I knew about Hitler and the Nazi regime. Apparently they expected me to go hard. What? No. Please educate me about my own history. Apparently this stems from a misunderstanding about not being allowed to do a Nazi salute in Germany, which has a completely different reason. Edit.